think for themselves.
A day of high drama on Capitol Hill, a drama that will continue to unfold throughout the weekend.
This is ABC News Nightline. The Thomas hearings. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel.
Literate, well-educated, compelling, indeed often painfully convincing. In equal measure, that description sums up the testimony today of both Clarence Thomas and Anita Hill. It is difficult to remember a more grotesquely riveting day before a U.S. Senate committee. It is hard to imagine on what objective basis the senators can possibly render a fair judgment. One of these two people, Judge Thomas or Professor Hill, is, if not by clinical definition, then by almost any other measure, a liar of near psychotic proportions. Their respective versions of the truth share almost no common ground. And yet, if the wrong person is believed, a terrible injustice will be done. The fearful prospect now is that since some decision must be reached, and objective evidence or testimony is so scarce, that Judge Thomas will be confirmed or rejected on the basis of political considerations having little or nothing to do with his merits as a judge. We begin tonight with a summary of this extraordinary day. Here's Nightline correspondent Jeff Greenfield.
There has never been a day like this one on Capitol Hill.
The hearing will come to order.
It had been billed as a day of high drama, the day when Supreme Court nominee Clarence Thomas would defend himself against Anita Hill's charges of sexually offensive behavior. High drama turned out to be an understatement.
As excruciatingly difficult as the last 2 weeks have been, I welcome the opportunity to clear my name today.
Judge Thomas began by flatly denying any impropriety.
I have been racking my brains and eating my insides out, trying to think of what I could have said or done to Anita Hill to lead her to allege that I was interested in her in more than a professional way, and that I talked with her about pornographic or X-rated films.
He described a professional, cordial relationship. He was, he said, a mentor who had worked well with Miss Hill, helped her on her path to academia. There was nothing ambiguous about his denials.
If there is anything that I have said that has been misconstrued by Anita Hill or anyone else to be sexual harassment, then I can say that I am so very sorry and I wish I had known. But I have not said or done the things that Anita Hill has alleged.
Then Clarence Thomas spoke in words of despair rarely heard in public life.
During the past 2 weeks, I lost the belief that if I did my best, all would work out. I called upon the strength that helped me get here from Pinpoint, and it was all sapped out of me.
His anger was palpable.
This is not American. This is Kafkaesque. It has got to stop. It must stop for the benefit of future nominees and our country. Enough is enough. I'm not going to allow myself to be further humiliated in order to be confirmed.
It almost sounded as if he were preparing to withdraw. Instead, Thomas threw down a challenge.
Confirm me if you want. Don't confirm me if you are so led. But let this process end. I will not provide the rope for my own lynching or for further humiliation.
As it turned out, that was just the beginning of an almost unbelievable day. A brief spitting match between Republicans and Democrats resulted in a shuffling of the order of witnesses. Instead of answering questions, Judge Thomas left, and Anita Hill appeared.
It is only after a great deal of agonizing consideration and great number of sleepless nights that I am able to talk of these unpleasant matters to anyone but my close friends.
She described a working relationship with Clarence Thomas that began to go sour at the Education Department when he asked her out, and she declined. He then, she said, began to make sex a frequent matter of conversation.
His conversations were very vivid. He spoke about acts that he had seen in pornographic films involving such matters as women having sex with animals and films showing group sex or rape scenes. He talked about pornographic materials depicting individuals with large penises or large breasts involved in various sex acts. On several occasions, Thomas told me graphically of his own sexual prowess.
Hill explained that she had followed Thomas from the Education Department to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission because the bad behavior had stopped, because she thought the work would be fascinating, and because she was concerned that her job at Education was due to be scrapped. But, she claims, the bad behavior started again. Her descriptions were compelling and repellent.
He got up from the table at which we were working, went over to his desk to get the Coke, looked at the can and asked, "Who has put pubic hair on my Coke?" On other occasions, he referred to the size of his own penis as being larger than normal, and he also spoke on some occasions of the pleasures he had given to women with oral sex.
Under the questioning of Committee Chairman Joe Biden, the language, if possible, went even farther.
What was the content of what he said?
Well, this was a reference to an individual who had a very large penis, and he used the name that he had been referred to in the pornographic material.
Do you recall what it was?
Yes, I do. The name that was referred to was Long Dong Silver.
What followed during the afternoon was a lengthy, careful attempt by Republican Senator Arlen Specter, a former prosecutor, to challenge Anita Hill's credibility. Why had she followed Thomas to another job when she had a secure job at the Education Department? Why was her vivid memory of these shocking events not shared with the FBI investigators?
You were told that you didn't have to say anything because if it was too embarrassing for you. But my question to you is, did you use that at any point to decline to give any information on the ground that it was too embarrassing?
I never declined to answer a question because it was too embarrassing. No.
And Specter produced an affidavit from one John Doggett, who knew Anita Hill back in the 80s, and who claimed that she had fantasized a non-existent romantic attachment on his part, evidence that she might have done the same with Clarence Thomas.
I have very limited memory of him. I do not at any time have any fantasy about a romance with him.
At the close of her testimony, senators from both sides of the aisle were competing to demonstrate their sensitivity on the issue of sex harassment. Senator Kennedy, whose private life has been fodder for the tabloids.
The viciousness of harassment is real. It's experienced by millions of people. I hope as a form of sex discrimination, and I think all of us are hopeful that we can make progress on it.
Senator DeConcini, who a week ago had rushed to Clarence Thomas's defense in the middle of Anita Hill's press conference.
I just remember as a young boy my mother telling me about sexual harassment and her job and losing her job. She was 22 years old.
Committee Republicans trying to balance their support for Clarence Thomas with their respect for the witness.
And you have presented yourself and your testimony in an extraordinary way.
Committee will please come to order.
When the hearings resumed tonight, Judge Thomas was, if anything, angrier than he was this morning. After flatly denying all of Professor Hill's charges, he turned his wrath on the Judiciary Committee.
This is a circus. It's a national disgrace. And from my standpoint, as a black American, as far as I'm concerned, it is a high-tech lynching for uppity blacks.
When Democrat Howell Heflin began to question Thomas, the judge had a surprise for the senator.
I suppose you've heard Professor Hill, Ms. Hill, Anita F. Hill testify today.
No, I haven't.
You didn't listen?
No, I didn't. I've heard enough lies.
Well, you appear to have a closed mind. Doesn't it raise issues of judicial temperament?
Senator, Senator, there is a big difference between approaching a case objectively and watching yourself being lynched.
It was left to Republican Orrin Hatch to guide Judge Thomas through friendly questions and through a series of outright denials.
Did you ever refer to your private parts in conversations with Professor Hill?
Absolutely not, Senator.
Did you ever brag to Professor Hill about your sexual prowess?
No, Senator.
Did you ever use the term long dong silver in conversation with Professor Hill? Had you?
No, Senator.
For all of the day's moving and eloquent and painful words, this picture of Virginia Thomas may have been the most memorable statement of the cost of all this. The Judiciary Committee today released a list of 15 witnesses that it plans to bring to the committee room in the next few days before Tuesday's vote. They include a number of women who have said that Judge Thomas was perfectly professional and cordial, 2 people, friends of Anita Hill's, who will support the fact that she complained to them about this incident at the time it happened, and also Angela Wright, another woman who claims that Judge Thomas behaved in an inappropriate manner with her. What we're talking about here is several more days of contentious and bitter and painful experiences at the Capitol, and whatever the fate of Judge Thomas, Ted, it promises to produce a lot more losers than winners, if indeed any winners there be. Ted?
Jeff, thank you very much. When we come back, we'll be joined by 3 of the men who next Tuesday will have to render a judgment on Clarence Thomas. Senators Dennis DeConcini, Paul Simon, and Alan Simpson.
Sunday, who's telling the truth about sexual harassment? The Senate leadership will tell us what they think, and we'll have an ABC News poll of what the public thinks.
Joining us now from Capitol Hill, where they've all spent the entire day at the Thomas hearings, are Senators Paul Simon, a Democrat from Illinois, and Democratic Senator Dennis DeConcini of Arizona. And also from Capitol Hill, Republican Senator Alan Simpson of Wyoming. All 3 are members of the Senate Judiciary Committee. I realize that none of you at this point will want to tell me, or the country for that matter, how you are going to vote. I'm going to ask you a more difficult question, and that is, on what objective basis, setting aside, if you can, whatever your predispositions were toward the nominee, on what objective basis can you determine who was telling the truth at today's testimony? Senator Simpson, do you want to begin?
It's so difficult, but you have to remember, as the chairman said, in any doubt, the benefit of the doubt goes to the judge. All I can tell you is we've had this man on the pan for 103 days, and they've scoured the entire United States to find something, and one person has come forward in 103 days with the most scurrilous and extraordinary remarks, which would have been repugnant and repellent, as they were well described. And if that's the case, why, after she got out of his ambit of power and status and authority, did she then still see him on 2 personal occasions and contact him by phone 11 separate times? Why?
Senator, I mean, if you're asking the question, I'll try and answer it for you, but I was hoping that we could go around once quickly.
I think we can. I'm ready. I'm sorry.
All right. I mean, the only thing I would respond to you is that a great many people who have been through similar experiences, and psychiatrists say it is not at all unusual for that kind of behavior on the part of a woman who has, in fact, been sexually harassed. But let me pose the same question to Senator DeConcini that I posed to you. On what objective basis, Senator, can a decision be made?
Well, it's very difficult, Ted, and our charge, as I see it at least, is the United States Senate told us, unanimously I must say, to go back and listen to the testimony and the evidence, and the corroborating evidence and whatever there is there. That's what we're doing. When it's all in, we are supposed to make some judgment and then pass that along if we can. That may be 14 different judgments, I don't know. But my feeling is that the burden really is on those who accuse the judge, because he is the one that is before us and has been through a very thorough, grinding procedure, and somebody violated some rules and maybe some laws, and the press is really on trial. People like to say the United States Senate is on trial, but the press is on trial because they're the ones that decided to broadcast and to publish this very confidential paper and statement of Miss Hill, and she wanted it not published. So to me, it is a question for the press as well as for us. We will make our judgment, each one of us, and we'll come to a conclusion One is telling the truth and one is not.
Senator, I'll pick up that gauntlet from you in just a minute, but let me first of all give Senator Simon a chance to respond to the same question.
Yes, I think there is no really objective way to do this, though Senator Heflin may have come as close to that as anyone when he asked about motivation. And it's pretty hard to find a motivation for Professor Hill other than reluctantly want to do the right thing. In terms of response to my colleague Alan Simpson, we're not talking about a trial where the benefit of the doubt goes to the accused. We're talking about nominating someone to the United States Supreme Court where the benefit of the doubt has to go to the people of the nation.
All right, first round done. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, Senator DeConcini, I'll pick up on your point and then let your colleagues respond.
Like Senator Danforth says, just throw stuff over the transom. We have affidavits there on both sides that are no more admissible in a court. I can't understand how we could be going through this process except we're told to do it, and we conducted a hearing. And now, because the press, Ted, the press could have made a judgment, and they talked to Miss Hill, and they read her the affidavit. She probably expressed to them they knew she didn't want it out because that was now very clear, and they went ahead and did it.
Let me bring both Senator Simpson and Senator Simon into this. Senator Simpson, you have taken your whacks at the press on occasion too, but you surely know that is the job of the press. When something is leaked, it is not the press's job to suppress it. It is the press's job to look into it, check into its accuracy, and if indeed the charge is factual, that is that the woman made it, then the press reports it, right?
Well, Ted, I've heard that old saw before. You leave off two words when you talk about the public's right to know.
I didn't use the public's right to know.
I know, I am. It's the public's right to know the truth.
No, the public's right to know the facts, sir.
May you ask me a question? I'd like to be able to respond. Yes,
absolutely.
Please.
Go ahead.
And so that got leaked to a member of your craft, and they read it to her and in essence said to her, we have it, it's all over town, and we'll have to go with it whether you say anything or not. How's that for good old professional ethics?
Well,
and so they did and left her holding the sack.
You know more, Senator Simpson, about precisely what went on in that conversation than I do because I was not privy to it. I suggest you were not either.
Well, I know about it. You know, we get blasted all day by stuff we haven't even heard of.
Yeah. Senator Simon, let me get your quick reaction, then we'll take a break and move on to the question of all the other witnesses who are yet to be heard.
Yes, I differ somewhat with my colleagues. I don't condone for a moment leaking it. I do think the media did a public service, and out of this, whatever happens in the Thomas nomination, we have elevated the whole issue of sexual harassment, and this country is going to be infinitely more sensitive on that issue, I believe. But I do agree with my colleagues. We have to work out some better way of handling something when someone gives us substantial information and says, I don't want my name used. How we handle that, I'm not sure.
All right, gentlemen, when we come back, I gather there are some 15 more witnesses to be heard from. I'd like to have each of you tell the country how it is that what initially was to be a group of 4 witnesses suddenly expanded to 15 and what we can expect. We'll continue in just a moment.
I'm not going to buy just any tire.
Before you buy new tires, test these first. New Bridgestone road handlers from Sears. Drive them anywhere for 1,000 miles. If you're not convinced new Bridgestone road handlers are the best tires you've ever driven, Sears will replace them free.
When they say it's guaranteed, it's guaranteed.
From subcompacts to vans, Sears has a Bridgestone road handler backed by lifetime free replacement.
Who's going to back you better than Sears?
I'm alive, Jeff Hashimoto.
I'm alive, Fonda Williamson.
I'm alive, Sonia Schofield.
I'm alive, Howard Weber.
Want to get more out of life?
I'm alive, Jessica Weber.
Get airbags. See your Allstate agent for a list of cars with airbags.
We're alive.
This is our vision of what a luxury sedan should be. Not because it offers rich leather and anti-lock brakes, but because it comes standard with an airbag on the driver's side and the passenger side as well, creating the luxury sedan where even peace of mind is shared. the new 929, the first luxury sedan from the new Mazda.
It just feels right.
Does the sniffling and sneezing that's keeping you up at night tell you your cold pill isn't doing all it should? Does your coughing and sore throat give you the feeling those tiny time pills aren't so advanced? Then it's time to try the new NyQuil Liquid Cap. It has the relief you expect of liquid medicines for coughs and sore throats, plus relief for sneezing and congestion. The Vicks NyQuil Liquid Cap, the very first nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, sore throat fever so you can rest. Liquid Cap.
Some furniture stores use the word free a lot. Free delivery? Who's paying for that driver, truck, and gasoline? Free credit. The finance company is charging somebody interest. You don't suppose those charges are hidden in the price you pay? I wonder. Well, Levitt's is having a moment of truth sale. Nothing's free. But we do offer the biggest selection, lowest prices, and quality service. Come to Levitt's Moment of Truth sale and see for yourself.
You'll love it at Levitt's.
How, Senator Simpson, did it go from 4 witnesses to 15?
Ted, the stuff started to come in over the transom. And here we have, first we have Ms. Hill, and now we have a woman who was banner headlines this morning, Angela
Wright.
Wright.
Yeah.
And then in all her remarks, she said, I am not alleging sexual harassment at all. Nothing he did to me would equate with that. And yet that was banner stuff today. So
well,
then
of course, Senator, with respect, you're being selective about what Ms. Wright said. She did say that he asked her breast size. She did say that he arrived at her apartment uninvited.
We're not talking about...
It does suggest a pattern of behavior that would be somewhat similar, at least, to what Professor Hill was charging.
Maybe I can finish. We're talking about him bringing in a lot of witnesses who are going to talk about the fact that they worked with him for 5, 10, 15 years. And each and every one of them, including the ones recommended by Joe Lieberman, the senator from Connecticut, said he's the most extraordinary man we've ever known. He doesn't even allow us to curse in his presence. And we're going to talk to people like that. I hope that's all right.
No, I'm just asking.
That we talk to those kind of people.
Just asking who was invited. That's
a lot of people who are going to be very credible witnesses for him.
Now, Senator DeConcini, the question then becomes, is it going to be just this continual seesawing back and forth, 1-4, 1 again, or 2-4, 2 again? And to what degree, ultimately, is that going to be helpful? I mean, what is the basis of the decision by which witnesses have been selected?
If I can take just a few seconds, Ted, we have a series of witnesses that are going to appear tomorrow. Some of them are character witnesses, both for Thomas and for Professor Hill. They're going to testify how they knew them, respect them, how honorable they are, and how you can rely on their word. Then you're going to have the first-hand, quote, first-hand knowledge, the corroborating witness that Miss Hill says she called and talked to about this, and also a professor that she talked to at a university in the vicinity here, making an application, and she supposedly said, I left the EEOC when asked that question because of sexual harassment, and that's going to be the case to help demonstrate that she is credible. On the other side of the spectrum, you're going to have witnesses that worked, as Senator Simpson said, with him for a number of years, had very close contact with him, were intimate in the sense of a professional, intimate relationship, day-to-day working in and out of offices, lunchtimes, nighttime travel, to professional travel and what have you, and they're going to show that he never had any pattern, nor did he ever exercise any kind of misfeasance, malfeasance, or any impropriety along these lines. So when you get all this out, plus the statements of the judge, Thomas, and Miss Hill, then we are going to have that dumped into our lap, so to speak, and we are supposed to make a judgment. Who do you believe?
Senator Simon, at the end of all of that, does the Judiciary Committee vote again, or does each of you then render some kind of a written or oral statement and throw it back into the lap of the entire Senate?
The answer is neither. We simply are holding hearings. We will discuss this with our our colleagues presumably are watching a good portion of it on television, and we're simply exposing the issue, and I hope coming to some kind of judgment, though it's probably going to be kind of fuzzy at the end of it.
But there is no Judiciary Committee recommendation to the Senate as a whole?
No.
All right, we're going to take a break, gentlemen. We'll come back with the concluding segment of our conversation in just a moment.
10 years. His hair is a little thinner.
I don't remember her looking so beautiful.
Not bad. For an ex-jock. Hello, stranger.
I'm hardly a stranger.
Well, you are late.
I know. You shouldn't have waited 10 years for this. Happy anniversary. The Diamond Anniversary Band. Tell her you'd marry her all over again.
You sure can pick an appetizer.
Hey, nice suit. Expensive?
Not at Burlington Coat Factory.
Designer dress. Cost a lot?
Not at Burlington Coat Factory.
Wow, great outfits. Cost your mom plenty?
Not at Burlington Coat Factory.
But why do they call it Burlington Coat Factory?
Because they have more of these than anybody.
Besides, ever try to say Burlington ladies, men's, kids, suits, shirts, sportswear, linens, dresses, first, slacks, Coat Factory?
A grapefruit drink that's actually sweet? Yep. New Ocean Spray Ruby Red Grapefruit Juice drink. It's got a sweet taste that's really different. Say this is grapefruit juice. This is Ruby Red. Grapefruit juice? Ruby Red. Yeah, it's got a surprisingly sweet taste that grapefruit juice never had.
It's sweet.
New Ocean Spray Ruby Red Grapefruit Juice drink because there's grapefruit juice. And now there's surprisingly sweet Ruby Red.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Are you ready for America's #1 primetime football show? We're gonna make you smile and get rid of your blues. Monday Night Football boogie for you. Are you ready for some football? It's the game of the week. It's coming your way. It's Monday Night Football and it's time to play.
Mr. Wright? Yeah? Well, if there is such a beast, a killer smile's a must. He's gotta have nice teeth. Gotta. With dark green eyes. Ow! I'm drooling already. And your dream date would have? A hot tail. Tall is good. Yeah? He's gotta have animal magnetism. Yes! Did I mention a hot tail?
Robbie Sinclair is history's hottest hunk. Wednesdays on Dinosaurs.
Nice tail, huh?
Gentlemen, I think we can find common ground if I suggest to you that what's been going on for the past few days is, in a sense, our system run amok, both at your end, at my end, in many different respects. What can be done to avoid this happening the next time around? Senator DeConcini?
Well, that's a very good question, Ted, and I agree with your observation. I think what can be done are set some kind of guidelines and rules about time periods of complaints. Also, for anybody who's going to be nominated to a court, give them some areas of parameters that they're going to be asked questions. It's very unfair for a nominee to come up and be asked about a case that was held in 1952 or a 1972 case unless you have the idea, or at least have been told that the area of equal protection, privacy, whatever, this is what you want to do. And unfortunately, that's what we expect of these nominees. They know some areas, you know, they know abortion and privacy are going to come up, but you get voting rights, you get civil rights, you get all kinds of different cases that are going. We could set some perimeters and let them have a fair chance, in my opinion. We also need to set some kind of guidelines as to who can bring in what kind of charges and what procedures will be accepted and what will be followed once those charges are in, and whether or not anonymous charges should be permitted at all.
Senator
I don't think they should be.
Let me just jump in so that your two colleagues have an equal opportunity to respond.
I'm sorry,
Senator Simon, your reaction.
Yes, well, it is a messy process, and I hope the public will be well served through all of this. But I think when the dust settles, we ought to be sitting around privately and saying, how can we improve this? I suggested this today to Professor Hill, that she and her colleagues at the University of Oklahoma Law School ought to be looking at this. there's no question that we have to do a better job.
Senator Simpson, among the things that seems to be lacking is the sense of comity that once existed, not only up there in the Senate, but just in general here in Washington. It may have been just as nasty behind the scenes, but at least there was an attempt to make it look a little better.
I had a little touch of that right out on the street outside the other night, and that was interesting. Paul was there. You hear Paul laughing?
I wasn't here that night.
Well, you should have been, I'll tell you. Well, no. Oh, dead serious. This is tragic. You have it right. It's a run amok. And I guess I know what I'd do. I'd have an executive session for about half a day. No staff. I'd have the nominee and no handlers. About half a day. Like we do with the Intelligence Committee or the Ethics Committee. Start from that, see where we go there. But I think the real thing that just gnaws at my gut, how would any of us like to go through what these two are going through, and how would you like to be Clarence Thomas, who's been here for 103 days, and one woman or man putting the torpedo into the hull below the waterline, as if, and now we're ending up talking about breasts and penises and so on. That's not what this is about. This is about the destruction of a life.
Senator, on the note of anguish, I don't think you'll find any disagreement. The anguish both for Judge Thomas and for Professor Hill was all too evident all day long, and I thank the three of you for joining us here this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good to be with you, Ted.
When we come back, how Americans reacted to the hearings.
A safe journey, that's what it's all about out there on the road. So of course, that's an important goal at Mazda. As we introduce the first of 5 new cars that improve your sense of control, that are stronger but not heavier, even one with dual airbags already built in. 5 new cars just as pure and personal as the Mazda Miata. Drive safely.
All across the country today, Americans gathered around televisions to watch the drama unfolding on Capitol Hill. Here are just a few moments captured by our camera crews from the opening statements in the morning to the hearing's late-night end.
Though I am by no means a perfect person, no means, I have not done what she has alleged.
His statement was very definitive. He sounded angry. I think he made it clear that he's had enough.
I think it's the most interesting speech I ever listened to in my life. He's one of the most intelligent men that I ever listened to.
This is like probably his most important point of his life or his career. Everything just rests on this issue, whether he be nominated or not.
My name is Anita F. Hill, and I'm a professor of law at the University of Oklahoma.
I think it's really sad, for one thing, just because I feel like as a woman, if I was sexually harassed, I would get as far away from the individual as possible.
I can't bring myself to believe her. I mean, it's difficult because you're stuck in the position of you can't sort of believe one person and partly believe another. I mean, their stories are so opposite that you have to take sides.
He used the name that he had been referred to in the pornographic material.
I don't see any reason why she would come out and say what she's saying so far and the way she's represented herself so far for no reason.
Well, I will produce the transcript which says that it was sexual harassment.
Well, I would suggest that saying that it is a sexual harassment.
Well, I think she was getting kind of tired of it right now. She was kind of flustered, and she couldn't really get her points across because I guess she had so many people asking her all these questions. And it sort of seemed like they had already made up their mind that she was lying.
I think they were treating her as fair as they should have. They need to put pressure on her because she needs to get the truth. They need to find out the truth from her.
I don't think they know the truth because when you have 2 people and they're debating like that, it's going to be one person's word against the other. So, you can never really tell.
That is one of the things that I have tried to do today.
Really?
I have suggested that I was afraid of retaliation.
I believed her from the beginning, but her
commentary today only reinforces what I've always believed.
I think she's a very credible witness. I think she's been very sincere. When she's had questions that she could not answer, she's been very direct. And I am very impressed with her ability to do that.
This is a case in which this sleaze, this dirt, was searched for by staffers, members of this committee.
If you or I was in that same situation, we might not handle ourselves so well. He handled himself very well. He's going to make it.
And the fact that he's being defensive, just to me, lends more credibility to her testimony.
Thomas is doing very well. I think what it boils down to a question of who do you believe? Do you believe Judge Thomas or do you believe Ms. Hill? I think they both portrayed themselves very well. But I think Thomas will come through all right.
ABC News coverage of the Clarence Thomas hearings resumes at 10 o'clock Eastern Time tomorrow morning, and there'll be complete coverage throughout the weekend. That's our report for tonight. I'm Ted Koppel in Washington. For all of us here at ABC News, good night.
This has been ABC News Nightline. If you wish a videocassette version of Nightline, the cost is $14.98, plus $3.95 shipping and handling. For a transcript, send $4 to 1535 Grant Street, Denver, Colorado, 80203.
Nightline is a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source.
America's watching ABC.
Paul Schacht's Drexel Heritage has built a reputation as the leader in home fashion, tastefully furnishing Northwest homes to complement one's lifestyle. There's never been a better time to decorate for the holidays than now. Paul Schacht's is offering outstanding savings on all in-stock and special order upholstery. Choose from virtually endless possibilities of fabrics, shapes, and styles. Perfect for holiday entertaining. The home for the holidays celebration at Paul Schacht's Drexel Heritage.
Don't miss the hottest ski film ever. Nissan Pathfinder presents Warren Miller's Born to Ski. Filmmaker Warren Miller travels around the world to show you people who were born to ski and some who were born to crash. Don't miss it.
Warren Miller's Born to Ski through Saturday at the Civic Auditorium. Tickets on sale now.
Well, as a consumer, you really don't expect tissues to be strong. They're supposed to be soft.
Well, you can't have it both ways.
Yes, you can. Now there's a new tissue that's soft and strong. Introducing Puffs Extra Strength.
See what happens when you drop an ice cube on a wet tissue.
Whoops.
Now look at the Wet Puffs Extra Strength.
Unbelievable.
I guess if it can hold ice, it can hold, well, you know.
Let me give you the Dave test.
It's really soft on my nose.
I'm convinced.
New Puffs Extra Strength. Put the best to the test.
Watch American Gladiators Saturday night at 7 on Channel 2.